In order to achieve the effect where one photograph slowly blends into another, we're going to use the gradient tool to draw in a layer mask. From Bridge, I will select these two images and then choose Tools, Photoshop, and then load files into Photoshop layers. Now, if we remember from the previous video that where the mask is white, we can see the contents of the layer, and where the mask is black, the contents are hidden, then we can easily apply that knowledge when using the gradient tool in a layer mask. The bottom of the layers panel, I will add a layer mask to the door knocker layer. Then I'll tap the G key in order to select the gradient tool. And to make sure that it's reset to the defaults, I will right click or control click on Mac and reset the tool. Then I'll tap the D key in order to reset the foreground and background colors. And then I'll drag a linear gradient across the mask and I'll hold down the Shift key in order to constrain it to a horizontal gradient. Now, the length of the gradient is going to determine the transitional area. If I drag a very short gradient, then that transitional area will be very short. We can drag out as many gradients as we want, and if we ever drag out a gradient that's the opposite of what we want, we can tap the X key to switch the foreground and background colors, and then drag out the gradient again. Or we can use the Properties panel and click Invert to invert the gradient. We can also select from a number of different types of gradients. There's a radial gradient that we can use. In this case, I'd want to check the invert. And there's also a reflected gradient. Here I'll start in the center and then drag towards the bottom of the image. Again, I'll click Invert. If I ever want to view the mask, I can hold down the Option key on Mac or the Alt key on Windows and click on the mask to view it. If I ever want to temporarily disable the mask, I'll hold down the Shift key and click on the mask. I'll click again in order to enable it. Return to the linear gradient, tap D to select the default colors, and redraw the gradient from left to right. So there you have it, an easy way to gradually blend one image into another in Photoshop.